need the bright light. You know what? I don't think I need the bright light. I can have the bright light on. There we go. I just got back from running some errands, like just. Oh, it's early. Woo! I started early even though I just got back from running errands. I thought I was going to end up being late. Phew. That's very exciting. Okay, and the last errand, the reason that I was almost late was a fancy beverage. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Um, yeah, so you'll be happy to hear. You may not give a rat's ass, but I'm happy to report. How about that? That I just mailed off 1,000 pages of Christmas stocking directions to a woman, a lovely, delightful woman in California for whom I've been knitting Christmas stockings. Oh, shit. Hi. I did it again. Damn it. Hi, Jennifer. Um, I can't remember to use my frickin' headphones. Well, good. You didn't hear me say rat's ass earlier then, right? Okay. Damn it. Oh, I just, I try. Okay, so what I said that you missed because I was yapping away without my microphone was that thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Um, I just was running errands and I thought I was going to be late, and technically I wasn't late, but since you couldn't hear me, you know. But that's what I gave. That's what I did. Why I was almost late. Um, so yeah, Lexi. So yeah, that's not the first time I've done that. It's at least the third or fourth time I've done that. So can't be taught, but that's okay. I have you people. Um, and yeah, I love you all with all my heart. Oh, and here I am about to read my mail. That's fun. So yeah, and then I started to say something very important, and that one of the errands I ran when I realized that I couldn't, you couldn't hear me. One of the errands that I ran was to go to the post office, and I mailed a flat rate envelope of Christmas stocking patterns. Grace Ennis, who's a designer from the 50s, or she was designing Christmas stockings in the 50s. Um, there were, I think, 6 stocking patterns, and then all the notes that went with those stocking patterns for how I knit them and whose name I put them on them and which year. And I'm not completely breaking free. I scanned them into PDFs and they're, on my computer, but I just put them in the mail to the person, and I had told her that I wasn't going to make Christmas stockings for her. I told her that I'm retiring from Christmas stocking making. I think I might have told you this, and she answered with, "Oh, I was just thinking of you because we just had another granddaughter and we would like another stocking, please." And I said, "Did you not read the email up there? I'm not going to make them anymore." So I said, and there were 3 families I contacted, and she wanted the yarn. I mean, she paid for the yarn, so I offered the yarn and the patterns, and she said yes to all, and I mailed the yarn like last week, and then she emailed to say, "Oh, I got the yarn, but there weren't any patterns." I was like, "Crap." So today I scanned all the patterns and all my notes. I don't know why. I should have just mailed them and cut that tie completely, but so I just mailed all the patterns to her. So yay. And I still have to mail. Everybody else said you can keep the yarn, most of which was well, one family's was acrylic. So that got donated to someone who knits for places that would be okay with acrylic yarn. So they're going to get a lot of red, white, and green something wherever she donates to. And then the rest was some nice Cascade 220 Superwash Sport. It's hard to say. No, it's not, but it's a lot to say. And that I put in my stash. Maybe I won't do a Christmas thing with it, but it's lovely yarn. So I saved that. And then I just need to mail the patterns to the other 2 families, one of which I have ready, but I'm checking on her address, and one of which I have the address, but I'm not sure which pattern. So I've just taken my time on that one. But the other lady, the first lady, wanted to get the new granddaughter's stocking started. She found somebody. She had asked me, "Do you know anybody?" And I'm like, "No, nobody's as crazy as I am." That was the family with the worsted weight yarn on size 0 needles. Thank you. Yeah, the interaction part is done. Um, yeah, so I mailed anyway, I done with that and almost done with the others, and then I still, the ends I was weaving in 2 weeks ago, haven't touched that stocking. It's right here. Um, we could weave in more ends today if you want, or I told her, that person, that the knitting's all done, and she said, "Yay!" She doesn't care. I mean, she's been so lovely. I mean, she does care that it's done, but she hasn't been bugging me about, you know, deadlines. Yes, Bram says, "Sorry, but all my friends have heard me complain about this." Yeah, she's in California, did I mention? So she's gonna have I was gonna send her a Ravelry link, but I didn't yet, and then she said that she thinks she found somebody. I'm like, "They can have the yarn, they can have all my notes, and they can have at it." It was a good run. Um, I wrote down I had made patterns for or stockings for this particular family for Justin, Joshua, in no particular order. Justin, Joshua, Chelsea, Jeff, Michelle, Jonathan, Mark, Nadell, or Nadal, or Nadal, I don't know, Jim, Madeline, and Jacob. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 for that family alone. And did I mention worsted weight yarn and size 0 needles? All done. Um, mhm, all done. All done. It hasn't really hit. Yes, still need to send patterns to the other 2 people. And when I send patterns, I'm also sending, like, here's the yarn I used and here's the charts for the names that I use, so they can make more if they want. Yeah. Back in the day, I found where the first one I charged, where did I put it? Here. The very first one I did for the woman in California, I charged her, this was in 2005, $50 a piece. See, that was a bad, not enough. It was never enough. Um, it would never be enough. I don't know if I've given you guys my Christmas stocking spiel before, but when I'm at the shop at Woven Art in East Lansing and someone comes in and says, or anywhere for that matter, "Oh, you knit? My wife and I would like some Christmas stockings for our grandkids, nieces, whatever." And I say, "Uh-huh. Can you make those for us?" I'm like, "No." "How much would that cost?" They say. That's the one that sets me off. And I'll say, "What do you make? How much do you make an hour?" That's what I do. I say, "How much have I done this for you recently? Because if I have, I'll stop." I say, "How much do you make in an hour?" And they're usually, "I did tell you this recently, didn't I?" They're like, "I don't know." And I say, "Well, that's probably because you're on salary, which means you also get benefits that you don't have to pay extra for." So, I don't know, let's just say that I want, let's say you make, I don't know, $100 an hour, or let's even just say $50 an hour. How about that? Which I know you make more than that already. So, let's say you make $50 an hour. How long do you think it takes to knit one of these stockings? And they're like, I really don't know. And I say, "Well, let's say 2 weeks, but I never really knit them all in a row anyway, and it's probably longer than that, but let's say 2 weeks, 2 40-hour weeks, that's 80 hours. 80 hours at $50 an hour. Is that $4,000? I can't, do that math in my head, but do you wanna pay that much for one stocking?" And by then, they're, like, backing up going, "I I'll go ask somebody else, or maybe we don't need stockings." I'm like, I don't think I'd even do it for, well, I probably would do it for 4,000. Who am I kidding? But 80 times, yeah, it'd be $4,000 at $50 an hour. And I bet that guy makes more than that. So, and I have to pay for my health insurance. So that doesn't, anyway. So I'm hopefully never going to have, I just need to say no. Just no, no. Yeah, so enough about that. So this past weekend was a stitches weekend. Most weekends these days are stitches weekends, and that's fine with me. Um, and I had lovely students, right? I think anybody might do them for 4,000 a piece. Plus, did I mention I made 11? I don't know how much that would be. That'd be a lot of 4,000s. That'd be 11 of them. I can't do the math. Um, Yeah, but not all at once because those are really hard on my hands too. Did I mention worsted weight yarn and size 0 needles? Holy crap. And did I mention I was holding gold gold fingering, it was called, yarn along with the green worsted weight yarn on the size 0 needle so that it looked like tinsel. It was called gold fingering. It looked kinda like a ball of crochet cotton. But it was not $44,000. See, that's not enough. I mean, that's I don't have to make that choice. So, um, what was I talking about after the stockings? I don't know. Anything? Did I make it past the stockings yet? Oh, stitches. Thank you so much. Um, so yeah, so I taught 8 hours, 3 classes over 8 hours, and it went really well. Fran was in one of my classes, so, and I understand that I said some important things that she will hope to remember for the rest of her life, so that was good. She had some aha moments, at least one aha moment. I think I fed her the other 2, but, I always when I was, taking classes long before I was teaching, I there was often, almost always, that moment in the weekend or the event or the class that was not what you expected to learn, but something that you would take with you to use all the time. And I actually don't remember what that moment was in in the class that made Fran so happy. So, maybe she'll pipe up and tell us. So, I also so part of the reason that I'm, uh, tossing up there's a word, shedding the Christmas stocking, mantle, I don't know, is because, I would like to have a life. I'm tired. I've been working hard. I'm still working hard, but I'd like to work in a more focused fashion and actually have a life. Um, and I wanted to take some classes. So last month, if you remember, I made I took the class in, oh God, rug hooking. And I made a little fuzzy thing around the neck of a bumblebee, not a real bumblebee, and it sits to this day looking just like that, but I could do more if I wanted to. It was fun, I will do more at some point, but, I'm trying to find that time. And then, this past weekend, I checked to see who was teaching what when I wasn't teaching what, and, I took a class with Catherine Redford, who's a delightful woman. um, she lives in Illinois, or maybe it was Indiana. It was Illinois, but I'm pretty sure she's not from there originally because she has a delightful British accent. And we've been sort of she and I have been sort of trash talking each other during Stitches events about who has the better students. And I always say that I win, and for some reason she lets me win. But this time I was one of her students, so I said, I think Catherine had the best students this time. But the class I took from her, and I was just sitting here in my house taking a class from this delightful woman, and it involved my sewing machine. And then I had an hour, and then I was teaching a class to delightful people that did not involve a sewing machine, incidentally. But I had to A, find my sewing machine, B, find a place to put my sewing machine. Well, and so that started with I have all my sewing stuff in the basement, which sounds like a basement, but it was my office and it was lovely, built-in shelving and nice carpeting but I moved that all up here during the pandemic so I'd have a window, which is why you see half of my face lit up. And so I suppose so nothing's happened in the basement to my knowledge, except there's spiders and bumblebees and who knows what else. But I thought I've wanted to set up my sewing again. I quilted for a very brief period of time, made some quilts that apparently, keep people warm. And the corners may not match, but they're blankets regardless. So yay. And I wanted to set up my sewing machine again. So part of the reason for taking the class was to force myself. And so I've been buying because there's this fabric store, this delightful fabric store right next door to Woven Art. It's actually connected to Woven Art, and I've been buying things. I don't think that was the first one, was it, Fran? Eliminated corner gaps. I mean, I know that was one, but I thought that was second or third. Third one, the last one was the more or less right formula. Yeah. Um, uh-huh. Words were coming out of my mouth. Yes, Marlene, hi Marlene, says, I can so relate to your comment about being tired. It is okay to say no to working hard for a time. Fran, it's not bad. It'll come to both of us at some point. She can't remember what the second one was. I turned 60 recently, which didn't make me suddenly tired, but it made me realize that I'm getting older, duh. And, there's this thing called 65, where retirement starts and Medicare and Social Security and all that stuff. And I'm like, maybe, thank you. I'll get back to the fabric shop. Maybe I could like actually retire. So I didn't think I could actually retire. I thought I'd be, teaching in front of, well, I could sit in my wheelchair and teach from my nursing home with my, crocheted acrylic Afghan on my lap and my cat. Um, but I'm thinking I might like take classes and like have a life and ease into maybe being able to not work myself to the bone. Um, Plus, did I mention last Tuesday that was 1 year of sobriety, and I'm very excited about that. And life is much better, and I would like to enjoy it. So that's another big impetus for wanting to clear out things like Christmas stockings that do not bring me joy. Ooh, there's more things I'm clearing out. I'll tell you about. Back to the fabric shop. Um, so I've been buying, patterns, and then oh look, there's some fabric and things that I want to make. But I would have to set up my. I haven't. I've made garments, but thank you, Fran. Thank you, Bram. Um, they're congratulating my sobriety. Um, I'm very proud. Yep. So I've made like garments, but I have never like, I followed it's kind of like knitting, let me just say, where you follow the pattern, but then you take a class from, oh, I don't know, Sarah Peasley, and now you can design from your closet. That's where I want to get with sewing. So far, I've bought some patterns for simple tops and skirts and dresses and pants and undies. So excited about the undies. I bought the fabric for those already. And but I haven't, I didn't know where my sewing machine was. So I'm taking this class with Catherine Redford. I think that's okay to fast forward to that. And I knew where I found my sewing machine. The basement has been neglected for a year and a half. So first I had to vacuum, which means I had to find the vacuum and take it downstairs and vacuum. And then I was like, I should really clean this carpet. I didn't clean the carpet, but that should come at some point in time, preferably soon. There was a big bumblebee down there that needed to be rescued, but that when I went to rescue him, he had found his way into a spider web, and I don't know how, but so I'm letting the spider have his way with the bumblebee. But at some point, those are going to get all sucked into a vacuum hose because I don't want those with me while I'm sewing. But anyway, I set up. So I found I cleared off a desk that was down there and shoved it. Well, I flipped it up. So I was smart. I flipped it upside down so I could slide it into that room, and then I flipped it right side back up, and then cleaned off all the, we'll call it mildew that was on there. And then I got my sewing machine out and put that on there. And um, I had purchased, oh, so the class I was going to take, by the way, was fabric. It was called Wrapped in Scraps Fabric. I don't know, fabric. It was bowls. Wrapped in scraps. And then it's fabric wrapped clothesline bowls. And I had purchased the clothesline. It was super inexpensive at Gall Sewing and Vac in Frandor, in case anybody's interested. It was less than $5. And for 100 feet of I don't know, 3/16 yards. And it's a reinforced cotton. It's not 100% cotton, which is fine. Um, and I had lots of scrap fabric, so that was okay. And boy, I had a lot to tell you, but I think this is an interesting story because it just, reminds you of how silly my brain is. So I had fabric, I had the clothesline. Um, oh, the directions called for an open-toed applique foot. I knew it called for a fancy foot. Marlene is, can I say it out loud? She's 63 and has never not worked at least 30 hours per week. See, I don't know how much I work a week. I would just say I work 24/7, which is not true, but I'm just always, thinking I should be working. So that's not healthy. And I am proud of my sobriety. Thank you. Huge, huge, huge. Uh, scraps of fabric. I had given a lot of fabric away to the mask makers. Um, and apparently I'd given all my thread away because the night before the class I went to set things up because you're supposed to wind your clothesline into a ball, which was harder than I thought because it kinked up. It's in a like cool skein kind of thing for clotheslines, and then you unwrap it and then you wind it into a ball and it's kinking up on itself. And I thought, oh well, I'll just wind it again from the other side. Nope, still kinked up. I did the thing like you do with a garden hose and just kind of threw it out and kind of in the middle, just kind of, yep, nope, just kept kinking up. Apparently that's a thing. They just do that. So I finally wound it into a ball that I was not pissed at. And then I went to, I guess maybe this wasn't quite the night before, maybe 2 nights before, and I got out, like, my scrap fabric that I had left from when I donated stuff for the mask makers, I kept my favorites. So I was a little selfish, but I donated a crap ton of fabric. And so I pulled out all these colors that I thought would make a cool rope basket. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'll just have a little sip of my giant mocha. Oh, man. Ah, it's really good. Um, uh-huh. Anybody? Oh, the scrap fabric. And I was like, and it asks for 1-inch strips and a yard. And I'm like, 1 inch by a yard is not gonna be enough to cover 100 yards of clothesline, 100 feet of clothesline. And, did I mention that I've been trash talking with Catherine? So we kind of have each other's email. And I emailed her and I said, what? Like, how wide is this fabric before I cut it into 1-inch strips? And she wrote back and said something like, and I apologize, Catherine, if you're going to hear this, but my recollection of the answer was, just cut it along the width of the fabric. Does that make sense? And I'm like, no, how wide is that width? So I decided, but because I already knew I wanted to make more bowls and I hadn't even taken the class yet, I decided not to use scraps because I wasn't clear on what I was doing exactly. So I didn't know how to be prepared for that. And I found some yardage that I had, that was as wide as the bolt, whatever, fabric words. And I took a yard of the yard. I had a yard of this yardage. Uh-huh. And I cut it in 1-inch strips. There you go. It's a lot of strips. And so then I realized I had no thread. And that was definitely the night before. Oh, I forgot about the foot. Okay, so some fancy foot. And do you remember July 16th when I fell and my knees are still hurting from that? They're still not healed. Um, Shortly after that, when I was at work at the yarn shop, and Jesse, the owner of Seams, soon to be mayor of East Lansing, but currently the owner of Seams, um, walked by and I said, "Oh, I need a fancy foot for my sewing class." And she said, "An open-toed applique foot." And I had just heard open-toed and I had just fallen because I was wearing open-toed sandals and I thought she was making fun of me. So I yelled at her. And then I called it up. I'm like, "No, wait, I know what it's called." And I called it up on my phone and it was an open-toed applique foot. She wasn't trying to make fun of me. I just took it personally. So I said to her, "Do you have one I could purchase?" "No, I don't." So I went, she said. So I went to Gall Sewing and Vac where I had my, isn't this a great story? I had my vacuum cleaner there for a tune-up, and I had the free sewing machine, the free vintage sewing machine I picked up from Beth Rasmussen during COVID. Um, and then took it in for, I was going to try to fix it myself and then I just took it in for them to fix it. So when I went and picked those up, I asked if they had an open-toed applique foot. No, they don't have, I mean, they had a little drawer that they went like this because I have the little drawer too. They went like this. That was their drawer of Viking attachments because they don't sell Viking sewing machines. And I have a Viking-ish sewing machine. So I had to go to oh, sorry. So I had to go, so I went to Country Stitches, which I didn't want to go to Country Stitches. And And so I called them and they had the foot I needed and I said, hold on to it. And I got in my car and I drove there and I walked in and I bought it and I walked out and I texted Jessie and I said, I'm really sorry. And I sent her a picture. She says, it's okay. I forgive you. Because I wanted to support her. So then I had an open-toed applique foot. Had no idea why, but I had one. And what else did I need? I don't think I really needed a stiletto, which I understood could be anything pointy. So I have lots of pointy things. And I don't know. That was pretty much it. And then it said, make sure that your machine is threaded and you've got 2 bobbins wound. And I think that was it. And I'm like, I remember how to thread my sewing machine, no problem. So, yeah, so now we're at the night before the knee thing. I don't know about the knee thing. What's the knee thing? What's the knee thing? Oh my gosh, I'm behind. Um, the night before, I realized, so I had thread, but I had some thread, but I had donated almost all my thread to the mask makers. The knee lift. Yeah, I have that on the other sewing machine. Oh, thank you. I know what she's talking about. Phew. Yes, other things on the I got it, Fran. Yep, we're just gonna go like this. So other things on the list of supply. I'm never gonna get to the other stuff that I really wanted to talk about. On the list of supplies were not a knee lift specifically, but a hands-free something something. And I asked Catherine Redford, the teacher of the class, what the hell that was. I actually asked her what the hell that was in the middle of a Stitches gathering live and being recorded. And she said, oh, just anything that you have that will help you raise the presser foot thingy, the open-toed applique foot, without your hands. I'm like, I don't have anything like that. Is that okay? And it turns out that my machine would never have had any of that. I don't have one of them, their newfangled thingies. So, and then also she said like open attached table something, and I didn't know what that was either. And she just meant if you have something to make the surface that you're sewing on bigger. So like she had a sewing machine in a cabinet where the surface of the top of the cabinet was even with where the presser foot went down. That was what she's talking about. I had nothing like that, but she said that was okay. So far I'm all confident and everything's fine. I have my open-toed applique foot. I figured out what I could use for a stiletto. Blah, blah, blah. I had my 1-inch strips, no thread. I had some thread, but she said it was, you wanted thread that would match the thing. And I had nowhere near any kind of thread that would match the fabric I ended up getting. I mean, see, that was not getting, but using. And that was part of it. I was going to use scrap fabrics of all different colors. So I figured if I had some beige thread and some black thread, that'd be fine. But no, I used green, very green. So I needed green thread. And I had green thread, but it was not the right green. So I'm going to admit to a crime at this point. And so that was Friday night. The class was Saturday morning. Um, so Saturday morning, I took a friend to the airport, and on the way, we stopped at Woven Art, which was not as hard as I thought it was going to be because it's the weekend. It was the weekend of the East Lansing Art Festival, and they just closed off all the roads, which I'm used to that around Woven Art. But they closed off all the roads. But I just drove around all the barricades and pulled up in front of Woven Art before they opened. And I unlocked the door with my key, and I went in Woven Art, went to the back, unlocked the door to Seams with my key, went to the front of Seams. So basically, I'm right in front of my parked car, and stole two spools of thread. And then I did everything in reverse, got in my car, and drove my friend to the airport. Now, I have to say that I had asked Jessie ahead of time if I could do that, and she said yes. So I wasn't really stealing it. Oh, and as I left the shop and locked it up and walked to my car, I heard Sarah, and it was Meg, the owner of Woven Art, walking up to the shop. I'm like, oh, whoops, hi, I just stole some thread. And then I got in my car and drove away. So I got to my house. So I dropped my friend at the airport, drove back home. It's not close. Got home, ran downstairs, turned on the sewing machine, went to thread it, to thread the bobbin. I'm like, I don't remember how to thread the bobbin. Unfortunately, the manual was right there. So I opened up the manual and read, and I threaded 2 bobbins, threaded, wound. I wound 2 bobbins. There's new words. And then I'm like, oh, I have to put one in. So I looked at the manual and put one in. And then I looked at the manual and threaded the machine. And I'm like, yay, I'm all set. And then it was time for class. And oh, by the way, I had to run upstairs and get all my, my laptop and bring it downstairs because, oh, yeah, I have to have my computer because it's a Zoom class. And I logged in right on time. And Catherine started she's like, oh, good, there's Sarah. Let's start the class. I always start right on time. She must start early, or at least start chit-chatting earlier. Anyway, it was a great class. But the part where we started sewing and she said zigzag at this width and this length, and I'm like, what? And I very quietly down here was like opening my manual, like, how do I make it do zigzag? So I fell behind just a tiny bit, and she actually called me out. She said, Sarah, are you paying attention? I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out how to do zigzag. I'll be right there. But I figured it out. And I made a bowl. Did I forget any important information? The point of the class is I made a bowl. Look at my bowl. It is the most beautiful bowl ever. I mean, Fran's is pretty too. She already took the class, but look at that. It's like symmetrical and it's green and you can't see the thread because it matches. Whoops. Okay. Yes, I made it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Made a mistake at the very beginning. My clothesline is showing, but that's okay. Isn't that gorgeous? So I put it by my bed that night. And when I woke up, I was facing the other way and I thought, oh, I made a bowl. And I rolled over and there it was. And I was like, oh, it's my bowl. So I made a bowl. Isn't that the coolest? So don't look at the clothesline sticking out, but look at that beautiful. And the thread, now you can see the thread. I stole that thread. I did pay for it. Ooh, I got all red. That was weird. Thank you. I love my bowl too. I actually went online and ordered the thread and paid for it. And then in the notes said, I already have the thread. I'm just paying for it. So all better. I'm not hitting it. Bram says, if anyone complains about the bottom of your bowl, you're allowed to hit them with it. I think for the very first inch of my very first bowl, that's okay. Plus, oh, guess what? Hold on. Please hold. I got it. I'm on it. Here, you can help me. Whoops, don't mind my thighs. What do you think? I don't have dark green. I don't have dark green. It's like a blue green. Let's try this one. Ha! What clothesline? I am so proud of myself right now. Okay, and that is not the first time I've used a Sharpie to fix a boo-boo, by the way. It's just usually been knitting. Look at that. There is no problem with the bottom of that bowl whatsoever. There you go. I didn't learn that from Catherine. That's my own thing. Okay, so that's the bowl. Any questions? Phew, so what did I want to talk to you about? Well, I made another big decision as far as having a life and getting rid of things. Sloughing, that's the word I was trying to think of, sloughing off. Right? Marlene says that's genius. I did it before with a pair of black and white Fair Isle socks, which are not close by. They're in the basement, so I'm not going down there. There's spiders and bumblebees and a sewing machine and more clothesline. Black and white socks. They were Fair Isle, and they were for a contest, and I put them on for the contest. Well, I made the night before when I finished them, because that's what you do with a contest is you finish the night before, if not 3 minutes before. And I put them on, and the black sock with the white, it was a poem. It was some words like a poem. It was a poem. Is it a poem? It was from Ghoulies and Ghosties and Long-Leggedy Beasties and other things that go bump in the night. Good Lord, deliver us. Is that a poem? Those are the words. They were in white on a black sock. And when I put it on and it stretched, you could see the carries behind, right? So the night before, when I saw that, I'm like, well, that sucks. So I took a black Sharpie and put my hand in there and colored in all the floats between the stitches, which of course turned my hand blue, which was unexpected. But the socks looked fabulous. But then when I washed them, Sharpies are not permanent. You might think they are because they say permanent on them, but they are not in fact permanent. When you wash the socks that you Sharpied with black Sharpie, the white part turns blue, just FYI. So I have no idea why I started to tell you that. Anybody? Oh, Sharpie, because Marlene said it was genius. Thank you. Hey, did you see that brain cell kick in? That's awesome. So I do want to tell you, I'll tell you two more things. Oh, it's only 5:30. So back in the, oh my gosh, if I pick this up, everything's gonna go. So that's bad. Let's put this here. Oh, and then that's another thing. Well, poop. How long have you got? I know Fran has somewhere to be, but I don't. I'm done for the day. Okay, so this is, if you recall, last year, over a year ago, I started a temperature blanket with, oh, that's the little one, with the knit along that I'm doing. I don't know what 6:30 means, Fran, you're confusing me. With the knit along group that I host, the Zoom along host group that I host at Wovenart on Wednesdays at lunchtime. So this was the first panel. Or it is the first panel. It not was the first panel. It's not that it was. So I got the first panel done. And I'm having second thoughts about my big decision. And I started the second panel. Well, I started the second panel, but then I decided I hated the yellow that was in the first panel. Oh, 6:30 is when you have to go to your thing. Use full sentences, Fran. Is that what you meant? I think that's what you meant. So we have an hour. I had a brighter, much brighter, like a, yeah, but that was you had to type and then I didn't know. It was I didn't like the yellow as much. So I actually redid all the yellow in here to be this beautiful golden yellow. Yeah, that's what got me. Right? So there was a lot of Kitchenering and reknitting of the first strip after I had started the second strip. And then I liked the first strip better. And the second strip appears to be not yellow because, then it's winter. So this started on August 3rd. And the blanket was going to be 3 strips. I figured out, so it's here. Well, here. So on August 3rd, that's the bind off. So on August 3rd of 2020, it was, really? No. Oh, yep. Apparently I knit down and, okay, whatever. It was, whatever orange is, that's the high and yellow was the low. And then the next day, the lighter orange was the high and the chartreuse was the low. So I have ranges, I think it's every 10 degrees is a color. And I had red as the hottest, dark orange, light orange, yellow, chartreuse, a green, a turquoise, and then a blue and a purple. See that purple? See, this is Michigan where it can be purple, which is almost the coldest color, and then yellow, which is a hot color, and then blue, and then yellow, all in 2 days. Because Michigan's just goofy that way. And then the silver ones are the change in the month. So I put 2 silvers like between August and September and between September and October. And this was a third of the, so I could figure out in my head because I had a calendar and there's a finite number of days every year, believe it or not. Maybe not in 2020 though. Well, hold on. And there's a there's a poop bag on the floor. It's empty, but like, why is there a poop bag on the floor? Apparently, I pooped it out of my pocket after walking the dog, but it's empty. Thank goodness. Um, yep. Um, I got stuck. So I don't know. If there's 3 of them, then there's approximately 4 months per strip, right? So this is strip number 2, and that's all the farther I got. There's the new month, and I got that far, and I kind of set it aside, partly because I kept starting, a new project every 10 seconds, and partly because you guys can help me decide. So this is JoJo Land Tempo. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's JoJo Land Tempo. It's right there. There. Tempo from JoJo Land. This is what it's similar to Tonic from JoJo Land, which is what Woven Art sells that's similar to Plymouth, Plymouth Encore. Beautiful colors, right? And it's, I mean, honestly, who can read that label? So, excuse me. It's not even there. Oh my God. Yeah. It's like dark purple writing on a blue background. 20. Okay, so it's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. The Tonic is 85-15, I think. This is the Tempo. It's got a little bit of texture looking stuff going on. The Tonic is smoother. Regardless, it's mostly acrylic. I have a dog and a cat. I thought this would be great for a blanket, right? Right? Yeah, it would. So off I went, and then a bunch of things happened. So one of the things that happened is that when I picked this up in June, July to start working on it again, because August was coming up and that was the year, and it would be nice if my temperature blanket was done. I went to fill in all the dates on my chart that I was making, and hi, Abby. Hey, Marlene, you can watch it. It records, so you can watch it again or watch it later if you're still there. It'll be hanging out on my Facebook page. Nice to see you. Uh-huh. Oh, when I went to update all my fill in the chart, the spreadsheet, let's be honest, it's a spreadsheet that I'm using for my temperatures, high and low temperatures. Like March was missing a whole bunch, or maybe May, but like a whole bunch were missing. I'm like, and I had chosen the weather station that's not the one closest to my house because that one, the temperatures didn't change as often, so the colors wouldn't change as much, but the one by the lake, which is, I don't know, half a mile from my house, that one changed more often. So I was using that weather station, and apparently it went offline or something for like a month. So I didn't have dates, and I was like, what am I going to do? I don't have those dates to fill in. So that was a dilemma, and that was one reason why I didn't pick this back up. Another was I didn't the yarn is fine, and now that I'm touching it again, I had been thinking that it was more loosely knit than I would like. Now it's not feeling that way. I might have to keep working on it. And this is supposed to be, so this is from the temperature blanket segment of the program of the knit along. And so most people who did them were marking like 2020 or marking, Anna made one for her, oh gosh, grandparents. Nope, that was Jamie. Jamie made one for her grandparents the time that they were engaged before they got married. I'm going to say she just finished it like this couple days ago. I just saw the finished project on, I was going to say Amazon, but that's not where I saw it. I saw it on Instagram, and hers was crocheted. I don't remember if it was Tunisian crochet or not, but it was crocheted. She's an amazing crocheter. Anna did one for her. I'm going to go with Dad, the year he was born. So that was cool. Mine, I decided, ready, was my year of sobriety, my first year of sobriety. So August 3rd was when I started with my temperatures, even though I started the blanket after that. So I it was going to it was going to be my sobriety blanket. But I'm not sure I really like this. Now that I'm holding it again, it's really not bad. I thought it was looser than it is. And it's really not bad. So maybe I'll just kind of put it in a pile and finish it later. I don't know. It's growing on me again. Damn it. So what I was going to tell you was I had decided to not finish it. But now that I'm touching it and showing it to you, it's not as floppy as I thought it was. And it's a really easy knit. Except what am I going to do in March or May or whenever the thing went offline? Life is hard, let me just tell you that. And in the meantime, in case you hadn't noticed, I don't have it with me, surprise, surprise, but I started the, the thing. Did I drop that? I did. Darn it. The crocheted blanket out of the Crazy Millens, which I adore with all my heart and enjoying making. But I think I might have to finish this one too. I mean, I'll have to figure out what to do when there's no temperatures. Maybe it'll be a shorter blanket. I don't know. So that's that story. I started it by I was going to tell you that not only did I send off all the Christmas stocking stuff, but that I also was going to not finish the Afghan. Crap. What do you think? Finish it or let it go? Weigh in, please. And then, okay, I'll tell you one more thing. Well, it's like two more things. I taught for Fiber World, I don't know, recently. Well, I can't I can't use a different app because then all the temperatures would be different. I probably will finish it. I'm sad. I was feeling such a big girl that I was going to let it go. Ugh. I have too many projects and not enough time. And that's the whole thing. Yep, that's probably it. So Matt wants me to finish it. Sheila, hi Sheila, wants me to finish it. Fran says let it marinate for a little longer and then decide. Well, phew, I was going to donate all the yarn to the woman who knits for things and likes that I donated the red and white and green yarn to. So I didn't donate it yet. So, all right, I'll let it marinate some more. But I'm going to keep working on the Crazy Milan one. Okay, that's a big girl thing too, right? To change my mind. Okay, again. um, so, okay, so this will be a shorter story, hopefully. I thank you, Abby. Okay. Yeah. Ah! You're right. For a lot of reasons. So Fiber World, I'll try to make this short and perhaps another week I can make it more detailed. But I bought some yarn from Dana of what used to be called Ice Melon Stash. And I was going to show you that that's not it. It used to be Ice Melon Stash, and now her company is Supernova Dye Works. She's in Lansing. She's actually in Okemos, but she's a Lansing business. Yeah, if it's a little off, it shouldn't matter. Have you met me, Bram? Have you met me? It's gonna change everything. Everything's gonna go to hell. So she had dyed a. Oh wait, I had a whole skein of the yarn. Here it is. Oh look, I found it. It's in this beautiful bowl. Have you seen that bowl? So I bought two, obviously, skeins of this yarn from her. She had a colorway that she came up with especially for the Fiber World event, which I thought was really pretty. Well, which is really pretty. Doesn't matter what I think. It does matter what I think. But and it's called I Like Turtles, which is hilarious. And it's her Oculus sock, and it is 80% superwash merino. Whenever I see SW, I always think it means Southwest. Like, why Southwest merino? Are there sheep in the Southwest? 10% cashmere and 10% nylon. And it's sock weight. It's 410 yards to 100 grams. So I saw this and I thought maybe, I'm going to buy yarn. So how much should I buy? And influenced greatly by Anna, who made a sweater called the Rocket, ROCK space ITT in the TEE in the the Wednesday lunchtime Zoom along at Webinart. And it was really cute. And I thought, well, and it's stripes of a fingering weight yarn alternating with stripes of a mohair. You know, like a mohair silk blend, like Kid Silk Haze, for example, which I've been buying a lot of things like that lately. And so I thought, okay, I'll make that. And it of course calls for like 450 yards, and this was what 410. So I bought two, and I'll probably only need one, but whatever. That's never happened before. And then she had another base that had the exact same colorway. That was the fuzzy. It's not a silk and mohair blend though. It's a brush Surrey alpaca that looks like, you know, mohair, but it's not. And it's a thicker yarn. It's a DK weight, and the pattern calls for this other one that's technically a lace weight. So I was like, so I talked to her. When I logged in to talk to her during the event, when she was in her booth, her online booth during the event, and Lexi was there, not really there, but also in the Zoom meeting, hanging out, keeping Dana company. So that was a fun visit. But I like said, so if I want to make this thing that calls for this other yarn, is this stuff that you have going to be? And I decided not to get the stuff that she had because it was a different weight. So, and you know how I am with being a perfectionist about gauge and all that, right? Or at used to be. So after I received my beautiful yarn and wound it into a ball, I went to, you know, Woven Art, because I'm always at Woven Art since I work there. They pay me to be there. Oh, and here's my swatch, by the way. That's from like 2 weeks ago. That's all the farther I got. Fingering weight's little, y'all. It's little. I have other things to do. But I'm not going to do it without a swatch, gosh darn it. So I was auditioning silk mohair blends that would go nicely with this as a stripe. Okay. And I, you know, I wanted to maybe, I've learned to not get like, you know, I have to walk two rooms away to get the mohair and then walk back to the front desk where this was. I didn't think about taking this over to where the, yeah, that would have been easier. So I just grabbed one of every color of the Kid Silk Haze has solids, and the closest thing was a bright turquoise. It was not gonna, kind of like the thing I just threw on the floor from the JoJo Land that I showed you. And it would, you know, be fun because there is turquoise in there. Whoops, I moved that the wrong way. See? But it's not that much. It wasn't going to be that fun. So I was trying everything. And I held up, for example, that, which is kind of in there. But I thought that would be kind of boring. And I held up that, which has, you know, it's kind of right there, but that wouldn't really work. It could. And I held up that, which really doesn't have anything to do with that, but it was just pretty. And I also held up that, which wasn't bad. You know, look down there. But it's like, eh. And then I held up, I can't show you in the skein because I already wound it because this is the one I got. This is Farmer's Daughter. Is it? Oh, hey, I have a label. That's not it. That says I like turtles. Did I get it out already? Ah! You know, I must have, but where did it go? Is it on the floor? Here it is. Okay, it's not Farmer's Daughter. It's Yoshi and Lucy Mercedes. Nope, it's not Mercedes. It's Rosa. So it's the same makeup and yardage as Kid Silk Haze. And this color is called Oceanic, which sounds perfect to go with I Like Turtles, right? So that's my pairing. And it'll be, you know, it's not my normal color. I'm trying to branch out. So that, and then you might have noticed that while I was showing you those, yeah, I think the Oceanic will be good, but you might have noticed that while I was showing you the ones that I said no to, they're actually here in my house. Whoopsie. So what happened was I tried all these colors and I rejected all the colors, and then I put them down on the counter to take back to the, you know, 2 rooms away to put them away. What's all this? Anybody know what all that is? Was that I think that was my temperature blanket. Who knows? So they were sitting on the counter looking like this. Okay, how can I make that look beautifuler? Whoop. I can hold it in front of the thing. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So, they had to come home with me. This was during the July sale. These were not on sale, but they were neither was the Oceanic, but they were so pretty. So I'm picturing, so this is most of them are Yoshi and Lucy. This is Twilight, and it's actually a black with a rainbow to it, like the purple and green iridescence or whatever, opalescence. You can kind of get a hint of that. It's gorgeous. Whoop. So it's kind of like a really burnished, I don't know, metal of some metalness. This one is called, wow, it looks really purple on screen. This one's called, oh, I've been telling people it's called chocolate covered cherry. I lied. It's called chocolate cake. And it's, you know, brown and reddish. So I'm thinking like a Black Forest cake, but also like a burnished, I don't know, some other kind of metal, right? And then this one is Farmer's Daughter, and it's called Gary Cooper. Remember, I'm also knitting with Paul Newman from Father's Daughter, right? Farmer's Daughter. So this is actually kind of a goldish green, but I think it looks kind of like a burnished, I don't know, what, brass? Copper? No, brass. This one might be the copper. And then this one is called Fog. No, it's not. I have all the colors wrong. It's called Vortex. I've been telling people Fog. And it's like a burnished silver that needs polishing, right? Needs to be polished. Sorry, mom. And so they were sitting all together, and I'm like, those are fucking gorgeous. So I bought them to go together. I don't, because I don't have anything else to knit. And I'm going to wear 1,200 yards of mohair around my body. And I already figured out, did I bring it over here? I did. It's right here. Look at that. Yay me. So I was like, I know there's a thank you, Lexi. Yeah, she's putting Dana's online shop in the chat. I always forget to do those things. But I remembered that Woven Art had, yes, I agree, Fran. I think they look gorgeous together. So I bought this pattern, which I knew was at the shop, helping Meg get rid of all the patterns. And I actually stole this the day that I stole the green thread. I'm like, I'm going to go see if that pattern's there. And it was, and I stole it. So Meg actually caught me stealing from her without permission. And I haven't paid for this yet. So there you go. That's the kind of person I am. But it's either a scarf or a wrap. I'm going to do the wrap. They did the wrap in the striped Kids Okays that existed for a while. Here we go. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use my 4 beautiful burnished metal colors, and I'm going to be happy as a clam. But when am I going to cast on? I don't know. But isn't that pretty? So it'll be like, to me, it's like metallics, like all kinds of beautiful metallics. And look how pretty that is on me. And I'm just going to make it a big rectangle that I'll just, and this uses like 1,200 yards. So I will use all of those. That was the other thing, was if I make something with 4 colors of lace weight mohair, I want to use it all up. I don't want to have enough to make another thing out of the same colors, right? So I'm going to use it all and make a beautiful thing. And that is what I have to tell you today. There's more, but that's it. That's what I'll tell you. So who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? I think I got it. So I told you that I sent the Christmas stocking stuff away to the one person, all done with her. Technically still have 3 Christmas stocking people in my life, but we can get those done. I did tell the one I'm weaving in the ends for, she knows that that's where I am, and she said yay. And we have till December. It's only August, so that's a done deal. And then yep, just sending patterns to 2 other people. And then I told you that I took a class, very happy. And I told you about the temperature blanket being a sobriety blanket, very happy. Gosh, now I'm kind of sad that I have to keep it. I'm not sad that I have to keep it, but I was like so proud of myself that I was going to let something go. There is another one that I'm probably going to not let go, but change dramatically so that I'll actually wear it. Okay, bye, Lisa. You're right. Mine probably does too. She said her pets want their dinners. Um, And then I told you about the I Like Turtles yarn. And then I also told you about my new, not on sale, mohair yarn that I bought just because it made me happy. Oh, look what can make me extra happy, except it won't really fit. I'll have to make a bigger bowl. I do have more of the green and I do need to get more clothesline, but bowls for everybody, mohair for everybody. Um, oh, I know, Matt. He says I can also let it go if I want. It's not your guys's project, but as soon as I touched it again, I was like, it's not as I thought it was gonna. I had it in my head that A, the temperatures were pissing me off because they weren't there, and B, two, um, I had it in my head that it's gonna catch really easily with pet claws and snag. But as I'm feeling it, it's not as fragile as I thought it was. So fine, I'll find something else to finish. It just occurred to me, last week that I haven't finished anything in like a year or 7. But then I made this and I finished it. So yay. Okay. So thank you for listening to me for that's probably my record breaking 1 hour instead of half hour to 45 minutes. And I will see you next week. Clara is a good girl. Yeah, I don't even know where she is. There she is. I had lunch with my son today, and then he came home and saw his cat who lives with me, and Clara was all over him. She loved him to death. So that was nice. And he helped me move furniture. So that's what sons are for, in case you wondered. All right. I will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. And I might have another surprise for you. We'll see. Okay. Bye, you guys.